God doesn't want you to feel guilty.
Yeah.
The question is, where do we go from here? It's up and it's forward. That's exactly what God has intended in our life, to go forward, to move on, but to become who we're meant to be.
For and make disciples of all nations, right? It doesn't say in that scripture, be discriminate. Only Jews get to be your disciple. Only Jews get to be, no, it's all nations, all people groups, Jews, Gentiles, every person. Okay, so we're gonna go Justin and then Isakin. I'll ask you right afterwards, but Justin, for you, specifically as a white man coming through this conversation that we had, what are some things that you're thinking about, next steps and all of that?
Yeah, the first thing is that I have so much further to go, and that we are all, we mentioned it before, we're all on a journey. I'm on a journey, and I am committing to continuing that journey. I don't want the journey in my life of learning and understanding other cultures and other backgrounds and other things to stop after an election cycle, or to stop when social media maybe isn't highlighting this issue or that issue. If that was the case, it would be a fad in my life, not necessarily a passion. And I believe that Jesus is passionate about all people and all of his children. And as a pastor and a leader, and forget that, just as a Jesus follower, I want to be someone who can passionately pursue and love and serve and care for others. The Bible tells us to love others even above ourselves. And we live in a self-centered, selfish society. And so that takes some work. That takes the power of the Holy Spirit on the inside of us to push us into areas that we're not comfortable with. And I think that's my ultimate thing, is committing to the uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Committing to being wrong and still opening my mouth, but with the chance that I might be wrong and that somebody sweet and kind might have to be like, hey, that wasn't right. I'm committing to the uncomfortable. There's a quote, stand by, let me open my phone here, out of a book. It's actually, it's a book by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called Where Do We Go From Here? And it says this, it's a quote from him preaching. It says, I choose to identify with the underprivileged. I choose to identify with the poor. I choose to give my life for the hungry. This is the way I'm going. If it means suffering a little bit, I'm going that way. If it means sacrificing, I'm going that way. If it means dying for them, I'm going that way, because I heard a voice say, do something for others. And you can feel, you can hear the passion, the direction, and the really the calling of that man. And I think of James chapter 1, verse 2. It's kind of unique. It says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work in you, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And so I'm encouraging me, whilst at the same time hoping to encourage you to lean into those uncomfortable moments, put yourself in situations. I'm going to put myself in situations that I'm not used to, that I'm not comfortable in, so that I can allow Jesus to continue his work in me, so that I can be mature in him and mature in his love. And I think maturity and security in Jesus and who he put me and who he put you on this planet to be are interconnected. I think the more secure you are in who Jesus made you to be, the more mature you can be, and the more secure and mature you are in the fact that you're cared for, loved, and taken care of, you can really open your life to other people.
That's good. Thank you, Justin. All right, Isakin, same question to you. From your perspective, what are you thinking? What are you feeling after these 4 weeks? Some final thoughts that you want to get out to the YC students, and where do we go from here?
Yeah, thanks. I am so encouraged by the conversations that we've had over the past couple of weeks. I think the one thing I'm feeling is that this is church home is my home. All of you here on this call, and all of you YC students, we are a family. And even when families don't see eye to eye, or even when families have differing opinions or whatever the case is, we work to resolve them. And I think that in these conversations, I hope that comes across as well, that each of us brings something unique to the table, and that we are all called at the end of the day to love our neighbors as ourselves. And I think that's the one thing I want to leave with each of you, is that just as Justin wonderfully said it, that each of us has we're on our own journeys, and whether that be for you as a YC student, coming to the point of acknowledging that I am white, or acknowledging something else in your family or in yourself. Each of us are on a journey, and it's up to us to be as open as we can be, and as we want to be, to learn and to receive everything that journey has to offer. Again, I've said that, I think I said this in the last 2 weeks, but don't be afraid to utilize the resources that you have, AKA your pastors. Justin, Kieran, Shaddai, they are just the most amazing YC pastors, youth pastors that I've ever come across in my entire life. And I'm grateful that they are here to guide each and every one of you. And I hope that, if you do have questions, you use them as a resource to really have conversation, and to begin to, have some of those heart checks and do some of that dirty work, do some of that uncomfortable work that Justin called it, that requires us to grow as Christians, and moreover as human beings. So I leave each and every one of you with that, and I hope that this series has helped you to reflect, and has caused you to do something about whatever it is that you've checked in your heart and you've decided to act upon.
That's good. Thank you, Issachin. Love you guys so much. And just to throw out a couple of final thoughts, just to answer the question that I've been asking all of these guys for myself. I would say I think there's two things that I am continually working on when it comes to the topic of racism and understanding social, cultural injustices. And I think the two words that come to my mind immediately, the first one is empathy. I know for me, I am the person that when I hear people tell stories, I want to be the guy that's like, oh, I know what you're talking about, and then tell my story. Have you guys ever experienced this when you're talking to somebody? It's like, oh yeah, no, I know. And then you tell a story that seemingly like one-ups them. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. The reality is as a white person, I cannot know what Black men and women are going through. And so this idea of empathy, and I would encourage, if you don't know, if you've never heard this word before, being an empathetic human being, please look it up, look up the definition, look up, I'm sure that there are talks on YouTube, and we could even talk about it here. Being an empathetic human being is being somebody who is able to acknowledge and attempt to understand someone else's feelings and what they're going through, and empathizing with those individuals. And so when I'm talking to my Black friends, listening to their stories, and they're having a hard day, and not just sitting there going, I understand what you're going through, man, let me tell you a story. No, engaging, being happy with them, crying with them, whatever that looks like, but being an empathetic human being. I think humility is that other word. And as a white man, being humble enough to acknowledge I am white, and then asking the question in that humility, what is it that I need to know? And laying down that almost, if I can say it this way, that bristling spirit where it's like, no, I am not this. I want to fight this. Man, that's offensive to me. But the reality is we have facts. We can see that this exists. And so this is just one area of humility, I think, for me in my life. And so with all of that being said, there is one other next step that we want to give you guys, and coming up, we're really, really excited. On March 16th, we are going to be having our next conversation on race for young people. This is a Zoom chat where all the youth pastors and the YC leaders, we hang out, and we are super, super excited. If you want more information on that, you can look to the website, as well as you can just go to the Instagram, Church Home Youth Instagram. We'll have the link posted in the bio as we get closer, but please come and join us. And by the way, this this conversation, it's not just for Black people, it's for white people as well. It's an open conversation for young people, middle school and high school, where we can come together and man, we get to learn stuff. It is, and without a doubt, these conversations are one of my absolute favorite because they are so beautiful in getting to hear students learn as well as talk about their experiences from life. So we'd hope to see you there March 16th. But with that being said, thank you so much for joining us. If you do want to know more about YC, you can go to the Instagram at Church Home Youth, DM us. We would love to get you plugged in to a leader, get to know you as some of the youth pastors, or you can go on Pastor Chat on the Church Home website or the app and just let them know, hey, I'm interested in joining Youth at Home. Youth at Home is the way that we hang out every single week. Wherever you are at on the globe, you can come and hang with us at Youth at Home. So we love you so much. On behalf of myself and all of the crew that is here, we just want to say thanks for joining us for this incredible month as we've been celebrating Black History Month and having a conversation of Jesus and what he has to say on racism. So we love you, YC, and we will see you next week, same time, same YC broadcast. We love you.